Okay, so hey, hi guys, hello and welcome back to my channel Elucidate. And guys, on to this particular lecture of my Java series, which is lecture 4, we are going to understand how to become an expert in reading data from Excel file using TestNG. So, what do I mean by expert? I have seen people they somehow learn how to read data from Excel file and they tend to get forget. And after that, after some time, when number of years passes away, they have seen people in that they are trying to learn that particular stuff. They are learning the coding part. I mean, they have created their class file where they are reading all the data from the Excel, and they have simply hard coded it, or they have simply learned it by heart. So there is no logic involved. If I go ahead and change something onto their class file, then all their scripts are going to fail. Why? Because they have learned it. And I do not want all the freshers or even the experienced guys of 2 to 3 to 4 years who are making use of this particular stuff, reading data. I don't want anyone to learn it. Just try to understand, and at the end of the lecture, I not only guarantee you, uh, I double guarantee that in your entire life, even if you are going to give an interview, even if somebody asks you to write the code, you would be able to do that. So there are only two steps involved. One is step 1 and another one is step 2. Please do not think about this step 3. This is the data provider. I'll tell you guys on my next lecture, which would be the lecture 5. But as of now, just focused on step 1 and step 2. That is it. Make your mind totally empty, totally blank. Just listen to what I am saying, and if you want, you can do it parallelly as well. Okay. So starting the lecture, without wasting any more time, I know you guys are giving time onto hearing onto my lecture. Your time is precious, so I'll not waste any more time. Let's get back to hands on. Okay. So first of all, create a Maven project. Open the Java IDE Eclipse. Right click over here, new project. I'll be a little bit fast. Maven project. Next. After that, click on this particular checkbox. Next, what is a group ID? Do not need to go in very depth. Just understand group is your related to your company or your organization name. You can give it over here. Let's say my organization name is Elucidate, or my channel name, right? What is your artifact ID? Artifact ID is the your project ID, project on which you are working. So let's say the project on which I'm working is my project Excel. Let's say, because we are going to read values from Excel file. So now I have created a Maven project over here, right? Because M is you can see letter M engraved over here, so it means that it is a Maven project, and the directory structure is like this. So I'm not detailing how what it is all about, but this is how it looks like. After that, you just need to install the dependencies. Okay, so I've written over here configure all the dependencies. So in order to read something from your Excel file, you need to have this libraries uh, configured onto your Maven project. Okay, so for this, open up your browser, go and type like mvn repository, click over here, and then just search this particular stuff, poi hyphen u xml, double o xml, search it, right? So if you click over there, so you will get this particular thing. Okay, so this is what I have already pre-opened it over here, so so that you guys are not confused. So you need to configure this dependency. What do you mean by configuring this particular dependency? I know it is not a Maven lecture, but still, it's just like that. When you install a particular software, you need to update it, and when you update it, some extra files get added onto your software, right? Some extra packages get downloaded which make your software even much better in order to use it. So this is that kind of stuff you can understand at this point of time only. Okay, so if I add these particular files or this jar files, it will help me in something, right? So just copy it, poi hyphen ooxml 4.1.2 version is there. Okay, and paste it over here. After pasting it, guys, you might have seen that um, some error is appearing. I am deliberately showing you this error because I have seen freshers that they see the tutorial or see the videos, and still a lot of error comes and they tend to get disheartened. And there are times I've seen guys even leaving Java once and for all, and they are switching back to a new language, and then also there they are failing because the concept is not clear. So languages will keep getting changed throughout your entire career, throughout your entire life. It's just that you need to focus on one particular language. It will make your life easy. Okay, so not getting carried away onto that particular lecture. So it is giving me error. Deliberately I'm showing you error. Okay, I'll rectify it later on. And we need to add one more dependency of testng over there. So this is my testng 7.4.0. I'll just copy it over there and I'll paste it. Right? This error has not gone. So in order to remove this particular error, you have to add one more tag and close this tag with dependencies. Okay? Dependencies. That is it. So simple. Okay? And if you press Ctrl and S, and if we go and we refresh our project, then something going to happen. Yes, maybe dependencies have been added over here, and now I have to go to my build path, configure my build path, or I can go, let's say I'll do this build path, and I'll add libraries of testng because I am going to use testng. So this is why I'm adding testng library, and here it is. Okay, so this was all the configuration part that was required to be taken care of. Okay, so this configuration part has been done, which was the step one. And now comes your the basic part, which is the most important part, which is step 2. Okay, so now we are going to read data from an Excel. So let's go and create an Excel onto a particular location. What that location would be, I am going to show you. So first of all, create that location first. New, go to other, sorry, go to folder, create a folder, give it a name like Excel folder, let's say, because I am going to contain Excel sheet over there. And go to this location. How do you go to this particular location? Right click on it, go to properties, and click onto this icon. You will immediately reach this particular area, right, where this Excel folder got created. Click over here and create an Excel file .xlsx extension. Okay, my, let's say this is my data sheet. Okay, and now make sure that it contains some data, because if it not going to contain data, then what we are going to read. Okay, and the properties over here is says that this is an .xlsx. Okay, just do as I am showing over there. And this Excel by containing a lot of data. I'll create some data like username, password, email. Let's say there are 3 columns, and the username is like Abhinav, password is, let's say, Abhinav at 123, Abhinav at gmail.com. Let's create another user, Rahul at 123, Rahul at gmail.com. And let's create another user, let's say John, John at 123, John at gmail.com. So let's say this is the data that is being contained by this Excel sheet, and the name of this particular sheet is, my workbook sheet name is data sheet, and the name of this particular sheet is user user data. Let's say this is the data of these 3 users, their username, their password, and their email. Okay, so this is the data, and now we have to read it. This is it. Okay, and now, even before going to the coding part, I'll make you guys visualize something. I'll make you guys understand what it's all about. So this is the data. First of all, refresh this particular thing so that your file comes over here, right? If not it comes, then again you can refresh it over here and you can see that your datasheet.xls is there, and it is also containing the data, and this is the name of my sheet. So till now we have not done any coding part, we have just done the configuration part. We did we configured testng, we configured our maven dependencies, and now we have created an excel file onto a particular location, right? So this was all about, and now we are going to read the data. So in order to read the data you have to create a particular class. Let's say the name of the class is, let's say, take it a meaningful name, getting uh, extracting data from excel file. Let's say this is my class name. Okay, this is my class that I have created over here. Okay, so class is created, and now the coding part is going to start. And I would request you guys to please pay a close attention. I know this lecture may get lengthy at some point of time, so just be with me, just trust the entire process, and at the end of this lecture, in your entire life you would never ever learn how to read data from excel. You can do coding on your own, right? So so in order to code, first you need to understand what we have to code for, what are the methods we have to create. Okay, so it contains four rows, one two three four, and it contains three columns, which means that I have to read the data present onto this excel file, onto this excel sheet user data, which is present onto my four rows, that is the row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and inside three columns, column A, column B, column C. Okay, so which means that this excel sheet, first of all you need to find how many rows are there, like how many rows are there and how many columns are there, because then only you would be able to understand, or you would be able to think that how many data you have to get. Let's say if there were data till here or till here, then it means that there were 12 rows, so you have to get data for 12 rows and 4 columns. But currently over here we have data for 4 rows and we have to get data for 3 columns. That is it. So first you need to find out, this is a basic assumption or this is a basic idea which I hope everybody is able to understand at this point of time. You need to just find this particular data. Abhinav at 123 and Abhinav at gmail.com, Rahul, John at 123, John at gmail.com. And how you are going to do that? First you need to have the idea of how many rows are there and then how many columns are there, which means that you need to create two different methods, one for finding number of rows of this onto this excel sheet in which data is present. I'm not saying that you have to find number of rows. If I just keep on scrolling down and down and down, number of rows would be 1000. So you do not have to create a method for finding number of rows for 1000 number of rows. You would be creating a method for finding number of rows for only till that row onto which there is some data present, right? I hope I am making sense. And you would be finding number of columns and for which there is data present. You would not be writing code for column D, E, F, G, H, because there is no data present over here. So we have eliminated, or we have reduced our scope of coding. So we won't be coding for D, E, F, G, H, and we won't be coding for columns 5, 6, 7, 8 onwards. So we have to write our code in such a way that only this data it gets pulled out from this particular sheet. This is all. And it means that in order to pull this, you need to understand that you have to write a code for finding number of rows and finding number of column. That is it. So let's start coding. This is not a beginner class, so I hope you guys know how to write a method. So public void find number of find number of rows. Quickly, I won't waste your time, guys. Okay, find number of rows. First of all you will find number of rows and then you are going to find number of columns. First, create an outline map. What you are going to code. And after that, once you find the number of rows and column, you have to go onto this particular row, onto this particular cell, and get the data. I hope you are able to understand. Go to row 3, go to column A and get the data from this particular cell. Get the data from this particular cell. So it means that again a new method has to be written which is able to get the data, which will help me in getting data from each row and each column and each cell. Okay. And how to do that? You have to write a method for that. Okay. And what kind of data I'm trying to pull over here? Again, the third aspect was that, so there were four aspects related to this particular Excel sheet. I'll note it down for you guys to understand. First, number of rows were required. You need to find number of rows in which data is present. You need to find number of columns in which data is present. You also need to find a particular method with the help of which you can get string data. All the data which is present over here is of type string. I have, although I have not taken the classes of data types and all, but since this is not an beginner lecture, again I am reiterating that particular stuff. I hope you know what a data type of string or what a string is all about. Okay, I'm not going to take that lecture over here because it will then make the lecture of 1 hour or 2 hours. So since it this field is containing all the data of type string, you need to have a method that would help you to fetch string data. Again, you need to create a method to get numeric data because your Excel sheet may contain numeric data as well. Okay, so at least four aspects you have to think, and then you have to start coding accordingly. So I'll delete it. I'll just hit save over here. Okay. So since my Excel sheet contains only string data, so I have to, create a method that would help me in getting the data in form of string. So find, or you can say that get string uh, cell data. Cell is containing a data which is of type string. I'm just getting it over here. Okay. So these are the three things that you are required if you want to fetch this entire data. So these three methods are required. I hope you guys are able to understand. Okay. So starting the coding part. First of all, you have to make use of this particular class XSSF workbook, and you need to make an object of this particular class. Let's say workbook equals new XSSF workbook. Okay. And if you click it over here, it is saying that you need to import this XSS workbook. So what this XSS workbook is and why I created an object of this particular thing. What is the use? Why I wrote this line? I've seen people learning this particular line. Now I'm going to take some time in order to make you guys understand, because I do not want anyone, to just mug it up, especially the coding part. Let's say you have a class named as your family. I'm taking your example, guys. Okay. Let's say you do have a family. Everybody is having a family. Okay. So how many people are there in your family? Let's say public void, your father. You do have father in your family. Okay. You do have your mother in your family, your mother. Just immediate quickly I'll create it. I don't waste time, guys. And then if let's say you have your brother as well. And over here, let's create a main method. Okay. Let's say I am Abhinav and I am sitting onto this particular method. I'm living onto this area. I'm living, let's say this main method is like US kind of stuff, right? So I'm living in USA kind of place. And I need to call your father because your father has got a lots of money. So I hope he may help me out, right? I was feeling hungry at some point of time, so I just need to call your mother so that she can help me out and she can help me in cooking, right? I need to call your brother because I cannot drive, so he may help me in driving from one place to another place, right? So these people will help me out. These methods that I have defined it over here, they will simply help me out in doing some task. Okay. But since you guys are very rich, I mean, it is not possible for me to interact directly with your father, with your mother, or your brother. So you guys, in order to call you guys, I have to make use of your servant. Let's say you have a servant onto your house, right? So I'll be calling you guys with the help of your family servant. So for that, I'll create an object of your family or your class. Let's say family, let's say servant equals new family. I've created a reference object that is servant, right? And with the help of this servant, I'm going to call your father. I hope you guys are able to understand why I created an object. I'll call your father over here, right? With the help of this servant, I'll call your mother as well. And with the help of this servant or this reference variable, I'll be calling your brother as well. Okay. So this is how we call. I'm making use of these methods. I'm making use of your father, your mother, your brother. They are helping me in fulfilling some of my life goals. So in order to call them, I'm calling them because I respect them. I'm not going to call them directly. I'm calling them with the help of servant. I'm sending a particular servant, go and call your father onto a particular car, or bring him to help me out, right? So that kind of stuff. Just imagine, I know this is totally a weird kind of example, but I love taking weird examples because it gets stuck onto your mind. If you always take a technical example, let's say create a sum and create multiplication, and if your mind is totally trying to become too technical, you won't grasp anything. Okay, so back over here, why I created it over here, because it is a class like your family class, right? And it is containing some sort of methods, and with the help of those methods I am going to make use of them. So because I want to read data from this particular excel file, I need to find number of rows, and number of rows I would be able to get or any other help until and unless I make a reference variable of this workbook. Okay, and the one problem of this particular class is that it accepts some sort of parameter. And what is the parameter it accepts? It contains, you have to pass the place where your excel file is located, right? Let's say if there was some parameter defined over here, is, let's say if I want to call your father, then I have to call him only with the help of BMW car, otherwise your father won't come. So let's say every time I have to pass this particular kind of thing, or this particular parameter. Okay, I know I'm making mistakes over there. So in that particular fashion, whenever you are making use of this particular class, you have to pass the location of your excel file. So what is the location of your excel file? Location of excel file is equal to, like this, and since it is a string, where is my excel file located? Right click, properties, copy the entire path, cancel it over there, and just paste it over here, right? And now I'll be going a little bit quicker. Okay, so now this is the servant, that kind of stuff that I jotted down over here, noted down over there. So with the help of this reference variable, I'm going to call something. So workbook dot get sheet, and the name of the sheet, I have to pass it there. And what is the name of the sheet? Guys, the name of the sheet was user data. So you just need to pass it over there, user data. Okay, and over here I told you guys that you need to pass the location of excel file, so we defined that location of excel file over there, and we are just using this particular variable. And now it is showing throws. Just do that. Okay, till now I hope I am clear what I have done. Okay, I had to call this, but I had to, I mean, create a reference variable of this particular class, because with the help of this particular reference variable, I am going to make use of this function, that get sheet, and this get sheet is going to return something. Okay, what it is going to return, if you just hover your mouse over there, it is saying that it will return an XSSF sheet. Okay, so return type of this method is XSF sheet. So just store it onto XSSF sheet. give it a name like sheet equals new workbook, and just import it. Till now, what we have done, we have defined location of Excel file, and we have given this parameter location of Excel file onto this particular class over there, and with the help of the reference variable, we are trying to enter onto this particular sheet from this workbook dot get sheet. So this is my workbook dot get sheet user data. Okay. And now, with the help of this reference variable of this XSF sheet, so initially this was a workbook, this entire workbook, it may contains n number of sheet, n number of sheet, n number of sheet, right? And now with the help of this reference variable, we are dot get sheet. We have called this method to get sheet. So it means that we are standing somewhere over here onto this particular sheet. We are holding this particular page. Okay. And we have created a variable again like sheet, and with the help of this variable sheet dot get physical number of rows, we are going to find. So it is going to return me the number of rows that are present onto my Excel sheet. And if you want to find it out, you can just print it over there. And what you are going to print, dot get physical number of rows, the return type of this method is an integer, so you guys need to store it into some integer. Let's say int row count rc equals this, and number of rows are just number of rows are plus rc. I'm just going to print it. That is it. This is what I have already outlined over there. Create a method to get count of number of rows, create an object, then get the sheet via object reference. Once you refer the sheet, put its value inside XSF sheet. Make use of this particular function sheet.get physical number of rows and store it. Right? So with the help of this particular method that we have written, I am able to get number of row count of this particular sheet, and the row count is 4, and it will return me. Okay. Now just copy it out, because the same thing you need to find it over, you have to do it over here as well. Okay. But there would be just some changes like onto this particular method. So sheet dot get row, which row number, the very first row. Here we are going to find number of columns. So first row has got how many columns? 1 2 3. So first we have gone to this particular sheet. From this sheet we are going to this particular row, right? And now we are going to find number of columns which contains data, get physical number of cells. Okay. And the return type of this is also integer, so int column count, int cc, let's say. And you can just print it out over there so as to see. Again it is saying throws declaration, just do that. Okay. And once you have found the number of rows and number of columns, okay, first I'll show you guys, because there are people who tend to think that whether it is working or not, what the hell is he doing. So at test annotation I'm making use of, and at test, and I'll just run it, and then you guys would be seeing that it would be returning me something. So I'll just run as test ng set. Pardon. So number of rows are 3, and number of, sorry, the message is incorrect, number of columns, columns. Again I'll run it out and show it to you guys. So the number of rows are 4 and number of columns are 3. Okay. And why this column got executed before and why this row? Because although I've written on, first I wrote number of rows, then number of rows should have been printed first, but it happened that number of columns got printed. Why? Because testng executes in order of alphabet. If there are n number of methods which with at test annotation, number of rows means a b c d e f g h I j k l m n o p q r, it starts with r and it starts with C. So A, B, C. So alphabetically it comes first. So it will be printed first. Output of number of columns would be printed first, because it is working onto alphabetical. I hope you guys know. Those who do not have idea of testng, I'll give a lecture onto that as well. But this is beyond the scope of our lecture today. So that's why I just gave a small example. So number of columns, and then it printed number of rows. And now we have found the number of rows and number of column which is containing data. 4 rows containing data, 3 columns containing data. Now we are going to go to this particular row, onto this particular cell, and getting, I'll just pull this particular data, Abhinav, right? And how we are going to do that? Again, just copy it out. Why I'm just copying it out? Because these 3 lines would be the same, because these are the local variables. I hope you guys know local variable concept. So they have been created locally, so every time you have to write it out over there. Okay, down with try catch, it would say, yeah. Over here you need to make use of another function that I have already written there. Sheet dot get row and which cell, and get string cell value, which row and which cell. Okay, so sheet dot get row. Let's say I don't want first 0 row data, I want with row 1, dot get cell 0 cell 0, and dot get string cell value. So the get string cell value, the return type is string, so you need to store it onto a particular string. Let's say cell data, that is it, cell data, and number of, not, this is not number of rows, data is, and just print it over there, CLLDATA. Why I have typed it again? Because there are 3 columns onto which we have to get data. So first row 0 column, then first row first column, then first row second column, right? First row 0 column, first row first column, and first row second column. Why I'm saying it as first row over here? Because in terms of coding, it index starts with 0. So this is the 0th row, this is the first row, this is the second row, this is the third row. In terms of column as well, it will start with 0 column 0, first column, this is would be the second column, right? This is why I'm trying to get data from first row. Okay, and if you just want to see whether it is working or not, just run it and let's see what happens. First of all, I have to print it out. Cell data, cell data 1, cell data, let's say 2. Okay, so what is it is going to return? It is going to return Abhinav at 123 Abhinav at gmail.com. Just run as test ng test, and now it's gonna give you some sort of output. Okay, so see, number of columns are 3, number of columns are 3, 1 2 3. Number of rows are 4, I have already shown you, and the data is Abhinav at 123 Abhinav at gmail.com. Okay, so in this way guys, I have completed this particular lecture, into which I have shown you how to read the data from Excel sheet. So in this way you can read any data which is of type string by making use of this function, get string cell value. If it would have been all they have been numeric ones, then you have written like sheet dot get row dot get cell dot get numeric cell value, and it would have returned the data into numeric form. So that is it. So this was all about this particular lecture guys, but it is looking a little bit weird because everything is hard coded. So we need to generalize this particular thing. Okay, how we can generalize? Generalizing basically means that nothing is hard coded, everything you just pass it on to that, right? Nothing is hard coded means that every time, let's say, if every time if I need to call your father, if you are saying that every time you need to call it with the help of a BMW car, it would be difficult for me to arrange a BMW every time, right? But if a car is mentioned over here, it means that it is a general car. So next time I can call him via even a Maruti as well. I can call him via Audi as well, or any other car. But if it is generalized, if it says car, then it's quite easy for me. I can bring any car in order to call your father. I hope I am making sense, although this is a very weird example. Nothing technical, but I hope I have made myself clear. Okay, so now we are going to generalize it. So how we are going to generalize it? First, you just remove all these things, these annotations, because now we have done the entire coding part, that how to read data from Excel. Okay, and now we are going to generalize it. So instead of making all these as local variables, make them as global variables. Define them over here and they'll become global variable. Okay, successor workbook, I'll copy them over here. Why I'm also telling you the reason as well, guys. Don't think that I'm just copying the half part. Why I'm making them a global variable, and I have told in my previous lecture in very deep what local variables are, how they are called, what global variables are, how they are called. And it was a very interesting kind of lecture. If you guys want, you can go ahead and see my lecture of local and global variable. That was just the third lecture, I believe. You'll definitely enjoy that. Okay, there is a reason of writing each and every code over here. So since I have defined them over there, which means that now every time I would not be required to write is full thing like string location of Excel file. I've already defined them over here, and I would be also defining a particular constructor as well over here. Like, how do we create a constructor? Public and the class name. Constructor gets created. Okay, so this is my constructor. And onto this particular constructor, okay, I'll tell you guys. I'll tell you guys later on. So instead of initializing these values every time initializing all these values in every function, in every method, see, I am writing these three lines everywhere again and again. If there are 15 different functions, then 15 times these three lines would be written. So 15 cross 3 equals 45 lines would be getting wasted. So instead of avoid wasting those 45 lines, I can only write them over there in constructor, because whenever you create an object of a class, constructor gets initialized itself. Okay, I hope you guys know the definition of constructor. I am again not going on to any deep because it will simply waste the time. So I'm avoiding that thing. I hope you guys are able to understand why I'm avoiding. Okay, so I have defined it onto my particular constructor. So if I have defined, then I can delete this as well, because these are global variables, and now I can delete all these extra pieces of line, right? So now my code got reduced to only one line of code. Can you see? With the help of only one line of code, you can find number of rows. That is it. This was all done because these were all things were required. But now I am, giving them a default place or a constructor, so that every time when I create an object, like every time when I create an object of like servant kind of stuff that I showed you guys over here, I do not have to reinitialize again and again and again. So I'm generalizing it. I already told you how I am trying to generalize. Okay, so I'm just deleting all these extra pieces of code. See, it is only one line of code remaining. Only one line of code is remaining. Very good, very nice. Now code is looking clean at this point of time. Okay, so no need to print it over there. Oh, if you want, you can print it out. Sorry, it's not Dell data, Excel data. Okay, guys, as you have seen that, I have generalized this code, and it had, and the entire code has been reduced to only two lines of code. So it looks very simple as of now, and I hope you guys are not learning it. And again, I'm going to do one more thing over here. Very simple, very, very simple. Please just listen, keep on listening. Again, over here, you can see that, two things are hard coded. This thing is hard coded over here, and this thing is also getting hard coded. Every time I'm exactly telling everyone that user data is on user data sheet, which means that anybody who can look my code can get access to this particular thing, and they can go and find the entire user data or a sensitive data, or it may be a phi kind of data from this particular sheet, and they can go and look it. They can easily get access because they know the location where it is. So this is the reason why we generalize it. We write the code in such a way that nothing is being passed over here, but still it will work. How it will work, I'll show you guys. So over here, now wherever we have hard coded, we are going to remove that particular hard coding stuff. So over here, an integer is getting passed. So row number, get row, that row 0. So it was the 0th row. So instead of this, I will put row num over here. Okay, once you enter the row number, I'm just generalizing it. It can be any row number containing data. It can be row number 2. If you pass, it will give you same result. If you give 3 and 4, it will give you the same result, right? So I am generalizing it. In order to generalize, what happened over here, it is saying that row number cannot be resolved to a variable because it is not able to identify what this row number is. So pass it in the form of parameter like integer row number, right? So whenever I am going to call this function, I'll just pass this particular parameter, and it will get passed over here as well. See, the hard coding part got removed over here as well. Over here, I'm passing the row and column count as well. So row number, and I'm also passing the column number, that is the 0th column. So column number. Okay, I'll generalize it. How to generalize it? Pass them in the form of parameters. So this is integer row number is an integer, so int row number and then int column number. So see, I have generalized it as well. By seeing the code, you won't be able to understand anything. Now I have started to hide my data. I mean, it's not hard coded, right? You will be just getting an idea that a row number has to be passed, a column number has to be passed. Which row number I am exactly passing, you won't be able to get just by seeing the code, and this is the good practice. Okay, so we have generalized all these three things, and now we need to generalize it over here. Again, it is saying that user data, you have to pass the name of the sheet and the location of excel. So pass it in the form of parameter like a string, location of excel file, and a string, let's say, name of sheet on which you are working. No, that would be very lengthy. Let's only pass name of sheet. Okay, so name of sheet. Whenever you're gonna create an object of this particular class, it will get initialized itself. Okay, so these were the three things that were required, and this is how we wrote. We find got the output, and in order to get all these values, we needed to first find number of rows, we needed to then find number of columns, and since all this data is of type string, we have created a method like row dot get cell get string cell value, and this is my method get string cell data. Okay, so since that has been generalized, my next lecture would be of data provider, where I would be making use of this particular class. So I'll show you how I am going to make use of these methods, like the way I am making use of your father, your mother, your brother. I was calling them with the help of a servant because your father was having some money. I needed his money, so I called your father. I needed uh, some a cooking stuff, so I called your mother to help me out. Similarly, in the same way, these methods were having certain functionalities. So in order to use them, I was making use of reference variable. The same thing I would be doing over here as well. This class is containing number of row as a method. It will give me number of rows, number of column will give number of column, and it will give me all the string data that is present inside this particular Excel sheet. So on to my next class, guys, on to my next lecture, what I am going to do is that I am going to simply call them, and with the help of them, currently what we saw that we were calling them by row, one by one, like initially we printed only Abhinav at 123 Abhinav at gmail.com. But now with the help of for loop and with the help of data provider, what we are going to do, we are going to grab all these value at once. If there would have been 1,000 rows and thousand columns like this, with the help of for loop we will be getting all the data at once, not one by one, line by line. I hope you are getting my point, guys. Okay, so I hope this lecture you guys are able to understand, and I hope my efforts might have definitely helped someone. So this is how you find, or you write your code without even learning it. There is no need of learning. There was four rows, so you have to find a method to find number of rows. There were three columns, you have to find number of column, you have to write a method. There were some string data it is containing, so you have to find a method to get the string data, and this is what we did. Only thing you need to learn it, if you want to really learn it, just learn this particular line. That is it. You will always enjoy. See, you just have to learn this particular thing, highlighted in green, highlighted in onto this particular color, highlighted in yellow. If you want to learn, then only you have to learn this, and at the time of interview your life would be easy. So guys, this is how, if you just practice this twice or thrice, you will simply become expert in reading data, and you do not need to learn it. You please do not learn it. Everything had a reason, and I explicitly told you guys why number of rows are required, number of columns are required, and why reference variable of this XSF workbook got created. Like I already gave you the example of this particular class. So I hope I have made sense onto this particular lecture. Let me know onto the comment section if you needed any piece of extra information. Thank you for your time, guys, and thank you for your patience. Thank you. Thanks a lot.